Greetings, luxe lovers. Welcome or welcome back. Here we believe in intentional luxury and we're not afraid to invest in pieces that will work for us. So if that resonates with you, then please consider subscribing and stay a while. So on day 3, I got there super early because I was really afraid of the traffic experience the day before. Also, there's a beautiful Goyard store that's right next to the George Cinq location, and that opens at 10, 30 minutes before the Hermes opens up. So I just walked around in there, browsed around, and then I started a line basically outside the doors of George Cinq. When they opened up the doors, I went straight to the back. I was actually probably the 3rd person in line because I went to the wrong area, so then people just zoomed in front of me. I talked to the woman at the booth and I showed her my appointment, and I started to say, but my appointment is much later because my flight is out. And she didn't care. And this is very interesting information, which I hope people don't start to abuse. But she was like, oh yeah, that's fine. And she rushed me in. So I was literally the 2nd person waiting to be assigned to an SA for our leather appointment. So that literally means I went from a 6 p.m. appointment, which would mean I'd have no chance at an iconic bag, to a 10:30 a.m. appointment with my chances really high. I wouldn't try to mess with this unless you have your ticket to show, because they might call you on it. Also, the locations might be different, so who knows. So then I was assigned a really nice essay, and I went through the whole spiel again. I actually didn't mention my bag before, but I didn't think it made a difference because it wasn't a quota bag. I went through all of my, my pictures, my story. I even showed her a picture of my collection that I have now so that she could see what I didn't want duplicates of, and I also think that was very helpful. So this is where preparation is key. You need to know what colors you're interested in, and when they say a color, you should be able to mentally register it, because they don't want to bring things out. They want sure shots basically. They want to make sure that whatever they bring out, you're gonna buy. She had some Kellys and Cellier, and she had a Birkin 30 gold on gold, but I had just bought my Constance gold on gold. However, I didn't have a Birkin 30, so that would have been interesting, but I passed on that. I literally in April had just gotten my green Kelly 25, so I really wasn't looking for another Kelly 25. And she did offhandedly mention that I got my Lindy the day before, and I actually should have asked if that made a bearing on what was being offered that day, because I wonder if they would have offered different things to me if I didn't have a bag the day before, in worries that I was a reseller. However, the first bag that she showed me was a B25, so I don't know, it seemed like they were fine waving that Birkin around. And I do think that because I was rejecting a Birkin and Kelly's, that they were there's no way this woman is a reseller. And then we just wrapped it up and I was ready to go. The airport also seemed kind of legit for shopping. If you don't have luck at any of the stores, I would definitely say save some time for the Hermes at the airport, because it seemed like they had some pretty good stock. They had some interesting looking shoes, and they also had some really great things on display. I even got to see the new mini garden party in person, which I'll put a picture here. It is so cute. Now, I'm not saying that they would have sold it to me because it was a display only piece, but you never know. And at 1,800 euros, the price is right. So I definitely want to put this one on my wish list when it comes to the US. So I know this is long and rambly, and hopefully you're still hanging in there, but here are my final thoughts. Who is this system for? Basically, I think this Paris leather appointment system is great for people who do not have an SA relationship in their home country, or even an Hermes in their country. So this is definitely an egalitarian way to get your shot at a quota bag. However, I do think that Hermes is still up to its old tricks when it comes to pre-spend, to even get a leather appointment, so we'll put that to the side. I also think it's good for enthusiasts of the brand. The second question that I'll tackle is, would I recommend going to Paris to try your luck? And to me, personally, yes. If you're a brand lover and you have the means to be able to take this trip, I do think it's worth going to Paris just to get access to the pieces that are there that haven't hit your home boutique. Or if you have time on your side and you're gonna be there for a week, by all means, enter the lottery 4 to 7 times in a row. Also, you might just be in Paris long enough to simply put in an online order and wait for it to get shipped to you or shipped to the store. So I would definitely recommend that. Part of my joy at night was just looking at the Hermes website and just browsing at what stock was even available, because it let me understand what things were even being made that aren't on the US website. And what's funny is the website there is obviously in French, but because I look at the US one so much, I knew the navigation and the hierarchies inside and out. But I'll just show a screenshot for you as an example. The SLG page in France had about 408 items on it. And now compare that to the US site, which typically has 85 items or over 95 if we're lucky. So I would just be literally happy to just look at the website because we are so starved for leather products. I could have looked at that website forever, and I even took screenshots of things that I would love to keep an eye out for if they ever come to the US. Next, is the system really fair? I don't know about this. Even though they do have a lottery system, I still do think that despite this appointment system, there is still a bit of curation going on, or funny business, in terms of the logic that goes into who gets these appointments. And so Hermes still may be up to its old tricks. Before applying to the lottery system, I would say definitely set up your profile in store. And I do have an unfounded suspicion that the pre-spend that I had on day one might have gone into the logic for what landed me an appointment for my day 3 when I applied on day 2. Just keep that in mind, and also the fact that even in the leather appointment, they do look at your profile, so they're looking at what you got. So I wonder if maybe if I didn't have my mini Lindy from the day before, maybe they would have offered me a mini Kelly. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but it's also, there's a possibility that they're trying not to give too many bags to people. Just know I had over 10,000 euros of pre-spend in my profile by the time I applied for the next day. So maybe it's no surprise that I got an appointment. That's a lot of euros. And because I'm such a technology nerd, we're gonna go into some technology conspiracy theories. So in my mind, I do think that, having that profile with the email up to date, absolutely necessary. And I have to believe that having thousands of euros of pre-spend in my profile helped move the needle. But because I had all of this all at once, I'm not able to unpack what led to the success of me getting an appointment. So from an experimentation standpoint, I can't make that determination. But I would think that the lottery algorithm may go something like this, that first they assign the people that fit their criteria, and then they have a preference, and then when one location is full, then they start filling it in with people who have no preference, which is probably why I got George saying. So I'm probably overthinking it, but this is just if I was to design the system, how I would approach it. And also, this is just nerdy tech advice for Hermes itself, but if I were them, I would really invest in the kind of technology where people who win the lottery appointments could actually give feedback to the systems, kind of like a central reservation system that you see in hotels, where if you want to make a change, you can through this electronic system. Because I would imagine that there's a lot of people who are winning these appointments that either can't make it or need to change it. So if they had some two-way communication, I feel like it would make the lives of those leather appointment booth people way better. And it would also be better for us, because imagine a world where if there were just cancellations, it could keep drawing from the next, random person in that line, rather than these poor booth people having to field all these angry questions. So I feel like Hermes could really upgrade to more of this reservation system online. And I'm already thinking about theories about the lottery system for the next time I go, and that might be in 1 to 2 years, who knows? I'm wondering if the system will recognize that I am a client, and when I reapply, that I haven't applied for, a certain time period. So I'm wondering if maybe there is a 1 year or 6 month threshold that after you win an appointment and go, whether you can be granted another one. I would think locals would know more of this information, because they could just apply every day and test this out. So if you know, if there are thresholds, please let us know in the comments. I would also wonder if I need to build up some pre-spend again, or if they would just recognize me that I haven't been there in a while. So I wonder if there is a component of having to spend or not having to spend. This I would have to test out again, coming back and spending. And in terms of regrets for my trip, I really tried to have my motto while I was in Paris be no regrets, because it had been 6 years since I was in Paris, and who knows when I would be back. But if I had to list any regrets or things I just would have done differently, it would be that I do wish I took the contact information for the SA, especially the one that helped me at the Sevres store. I actually really liked her, but in my mind at the time, I was like, I'm not gonna be back for years. So it didn't matter, but it would have been nice for me to at least ask. And second, I do wish I took the time to browse around all of the stores, because I was so focused on the leather desk and the leather section. I just really wish I took time to just kind of bounce around, browse at my leisure, and that probably would have taken hours. And in a weird way, when I came home, I kind of felt guilty for spending all of this money with someone other than my local SA. it almost feels like I cheated on her. And it's gonna be a while till I go back to my local Hermes, I gotta tell you that. But I feel bad, like I feel like I need to make it up to her somehow. Has anyone else felt this way? And last, I think about what I would do if I had to go back next for the same amount of time, say. I think again I would do the same kind of flight in early morning, and I would do similar stuff. Like day one, establish that pre-spend. This time I would focus on the SLGs and not mess around with other types of spend, because that would still get you around 5K. Day two, if I didn't get an appointment the night before, I would apply again like I did, and I would go to the other stores, Sevres or George Cinq, and see if I could get a walk-in. And day three, I would try again for a walk-in, probably in the morning, and then I would fly back out. So thank you to those who've stayed with me to the end. Please let me know in the comments if any of these tips work for you or not, so I can improve my theories. I welcome you to follow me on Instagram if you'd like to see more of how I style these beauties in my day-to-day and other luxury moments. If you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to go down the rabbit hole that is my Paris playlist, and I'll put that link here. Please like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!